This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
We mixed. We loaded it. We edited it.
Sometimes we get so deep into conversation that we have separate segments worthy of their own place in the sun.
Here is a reshuffled mini episode.
We were going to talk briefly about our favorite Michael Mann moments. Because again, it's just a perfect example of good versus evil, pyrotechnics, actual, realistic gunfights. But yeah, so what do you love mostly about Michael Mann's style, do you think, other than his creating an atmosphere, perfecting the 3-hour epic kind of spectacle?
I think Michael Mann's, like, the way he color grades his movies, like, are really good. Like, I love the blue hues of fucking
Blue hues are
like, the
amazing.
beach. Yeah,
He
like
uses
the night.
multiple songs. I mean, like Manhunter. That movie would be just another generic cop hunting a serial killer movie if you didn't have all those awesome scenes of after this I'm done, and just
fucking
looking at his
Manhunter's
cars.
actually pretty good as well. So it is.
And you would never really know it's related to that same thing that became the oversaturated, Hannibal Lecter franchise.
Yeah, because you see, it wasn't called Hannibal Lecter or
Right.
fucking,
And even then,
and
the
Anthony
character
Hopkins wasn't it, and then as well in Manhunter,
but even then,
Hannibal
like,
Lecter's is only
he's just a
like
supporting. He's just like one
supporting character, like.
And I think Mann just loves just showing. When you listen to any of his commentary tracks for any movie, good or bad, you get a sense of just dedication, like kind of like John McTiernan when you hear his, commentary tracks on his hits like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. You're just like, this man
Never
loved.
watched. Audio commentaries on either Mike or John McTiernan films. I wouldn't mind of both directors. I actually really miss John McTiernan. I wish he was still making
We all
movies.
do. Wish he hadn't done that stupid, wiretap. And we're like, dude, come back and make movies for us, please.
And then he got fucking caught in a lie or some shit, and then I was under house arrest for fucking like a couple of years or some crap.
And
like,
now he's
and it was
teasing
just like, what the fuck?
Is like, now he's teasing I'm coming back, and we're like, well, it's been
I remember hearing years ago he was gonna.
Fine with Coppola doing whatever he wants to do, even if it's not a good movie. I'm fine with De Palma just teaching directing lessons because he's can't bear to work in Hollywood anymore. But then when you see these other guys, it's like, where are you right now, and what happened? And so what are your favorite moments from Michael Mann's various movies and shows?
The opening in Hate is always a great one. The fucking when they ambush the armored car with the fucking
in Heat,
dump truck.
the
hockey masks and all that, and then Waingro.
Well, and the fact that the music is playing frantically in that whole sequence, you're getting horrified, just like the various guards that are dispatched by, and then they figure out, oh, Waingro, he's a psycho. We got to kick him off the team, man. You were just supposed to rob it, not kill him.
Yeah. He's the loose end. And then I read there as well recently, in the Kane and Lynch games, the character Lynch is based off his likeness.
I heard about that, yeah. They had seen
like
robbery movies so many times, and Heat was one of them. Robert Rodriguez once interviewed Michael Mann on the Director's Chair show. It was a fun documentary show that's no longer a thing because El Rey Network closed down, but he brought up Michael Mann's various iconic moments, and Mann had a great story on how he made the gunpowder explode, but looks so beautiful on screen in Less the Mohicans. Rodriguez then followed it up with for the climactic battle of Heat, what stands out about it so much, is like, obviously there's all the cool thing and be subtle at the bank robbery and then try to, tying everybody up, making sure no one leaves and coming out looking not so suspicious, with their money. They got their getaway driver, played perfectly by Dennis Haysbert from Major League and 24 fame. And Tom Sizemore's character, he's really enjoying himself. He's like,
yeah, Tom Sizemore is actually pretty good in that as well.
He's about unhinged hilmself too. But I love Rodriguez brought up a great point on how once everyone locks eyes with each other and Val Kilmer's character, opens up fire, like that excellent music track by The Edge just stops. And then you hear just nothing but, all the practical sound effects and the realistic gunfire. It's like, I never noticed that before, but it's true. Yeah, the music just, it plays when it needs to play, and it just stops.
Yeah, this
like
is
the minute
end,
everybody locks eyes.
The bank and all, and it goes boom, 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 and then it's like, it shows fucking Val Kilmer.
Try your side if you want.
Smile,
yeah, and just...
and then it just cuts, and then he just starts fucking blasting.
And in a way, there's even elements of The Fugitive, and some people have compared that to Michael Mann's love letter to Hong Kong cinema, as well as, Dog Day Afternoon type robberies. And it is kind of true because, like, the guys all just want to get away and get their shit together. And you actually saw all the wives part of it and girlfriend's aspect of it. They're like, you're killing yourself, you're no fun to be around, you're gonna lose me if you keep doing this shit. And just also what's a great, the climax of Heat, and I won't give it away for those who don't know it, but in a way both characters kind of mentally die because they're the same person on opposite ends of the line, opposite ends of the law.
Funny, I think it's the only film, or the only sort of
when the cop goes after
where I'm actually rooting for the bad guys the whole time.
It's a bit of that, and Pacino is unhinged, but he works really well instead of doing his usual overacting where you're like, good grief, dude, you used to, not overdo it this much. And
you can fuck my wife, but you can't watch my fucking television.
I know, that's a great scene. He just comes on in there and he's like, but also, he's a lieutenant, and he's just, it's so wild how originally they wanted it to be he's a smoker, and you never knew initially why is he chewing gum. But I love
about it as well. Where originally they want the hints that he, like Vincent Hanna, was taking coke as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, and he's reworded the dialogue a bit since. But I also love how when he's at the very end, like he gets no satisfaction from taking down the robber. And it's just like, I had coffee and lunch with this guy, a month ago, and it's spread out so well, and there's basically a win and a lose for both teams. It's almost like seeing an actual bunch of people play a game, a chess game. So, and even just the smallest moments when Wes Studi is loading his shotgun in the elevator, he and Pacino have a cool talk, and you're like, see, any other filmmaker that would seem redundant or just like a well-acted scene that later gets deleted. That's cool. Just when they develop, just little small nuances that I think really elevated that movie. John Voight's character, who gives them just some business with them, apparently was inspired by real life.
He's barely in the film.
Criminal Eddie. He's barely in the film, but he was actually inspired by Eddie Bunker, who is one of the other Reservoir Dogs, and who was also in Runaway Train. So it's interesting how Mann actually, was listening to some real ex-cons and getting inspiration for this. And it was a great role. You mentioned the dump truck. Great role for Danny Trejo. Like, you actually believed, hey, he's part of this team.
Trejo as well.
Yes. And so in my mind, many of Michael Mann stuff could be in the same universe because he's just got such a signature style. But I mean, it'd be funny if some of the criminals did business later with Vincent the Hitman in. So here's another thing. Michael Mann loves calling his characters Vincent, and it happens to be the Hitman in Collateral.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's called Vincent as well. Tom Cruise is great.
And then he does business with... Oh, it's literally... That and Tropic Thunder have to be his best role ever.
Oh man,
but
that's his best. That's his best performance. Like, because he just becomes a cold, calculated fucking killer.
Don't you love how? And don't you love how Jason Statham was like in the area at the time? They're like, "Hey, you're the transporter dude. How about you be a courier? You give him his briefcase at the airport."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's got a cameo at the start.
It's a fun cameo, and it's like still an important scene, and it's still funny seeing him look intimidated as he's giving it to this emotionless guy. And I think that's what was so cool about that role. Tom Cruise blends in. You think, oh yeah, he's just a average Joe who's in a suit. You're like, no, he's actually a psychotic hitman. I think what is both an interesting on rewatch and unfortunately is a little formulaic is that you can kind of imply that Vincent's at the end of his point blank accuracy, so to speak, because like the only way for the story to progress is he's making very sloppy hits.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, so you got to get past that formulaicness in order. But once you get past that, you still have the fun of him outwitting the feds and the local law enforcement and the hitmans, and the other cartel guys who he wronged, who want him dead. So it's all that cool stuff that you have to keep track of. And seeing Peter Berg.
What about fucking Mark Ruffalo's character and subplot there that goes fucking nowhere? And I was like, oh,
he should work with Michael Mann again. That was such a cool haircut for him. Just the way he enters that room.
His character was so cool. Like, I was hoping, like, he'd fucking come into it and get really interesting, and then, like, we know what happened.
Yeah, that's a knock against the movie, but it is a good performance. But you're like, yeah, he needed more screen time.
Yeah, like there's potential there, because I remember like watching it for the first time, going, right, okay, it's gonna get really interesting now. Mark Ruffalo's character comes into the picture, and then like.
Anytime he comes face to face with Jamie Foxx's characters, and then he dies, and you're like,
yeah. It's like during the nightclub, it's like I got you, and then fucking Benson just fucking shoots him to bits, like, and you're like, for fuck's sake, not this guy.
There are some great moments also on the Miami Vice show. Like, Don Johnson was perfect for that. Phil Michael Thomas was perfect. And their egos were out of control, but it was so cool seeing them each time they got a briefing from whoever was their lieutenant that season, and just Crockett basically goes for like a cool, Desert Eagle or machine gun, while Phil Michael Thomas goes and gets a, shotgun or, some other special weapon from the Vice Squad. And just... the music made that show more than it was, and it sounds ridiculous when I say that, but really, you do have to look at it, and all the future A-listers is like, it really was kind of just lightning in a bottle that I don't think they even knew why it worked so well. They winged it, and it paid off, and Mann was giving them the tips and tricks.
I think what helped then as well, now that we're chatting about Miami Vice, like, I did, like, realize that a lot of actors, before they became big, were on like Miami Vice for like an episode or two, like Bruce Willis, like a bad guy in one episode.
And some of them played multiple roles too, and that was funny. You're just like, hey, weren't you the Kingpin, 2 seasons ago?
Oh yeah, that's where they carry on. And then
that's where Dick
Nation was in it.
Yeah, Caruso was a thug.
Benicio del Toro, fucking Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Like
Leguizamo, Tony Plana.
Yeah. Miguel Ferrara,
Kerry Tagawa, Stanley Tucci. It's like, list goes on, and even Sheena Easton.
He was there as well.
Sure, he was. I didn't see him, but Ving Rhames, just all kinds of guys, and you're like, man, I'm sure those guys got some amusing stories. Jimmy Smits is in the pilot, and like for a split second, and then gets machine gun at a party. You're like, my God,
Dude, Jimmy Smith's in it, and he gets fucking killed. What?
The very first episode, you're like, what?
Oh, it's just like one of his really early roles before he actually got like proper.
I think it actually was. It was like his second or third role or something.
And it's just like him at the start, and then he gets fucking shot, and that's him out of it. You're like, oh man.
You killed the life of the party. What the hell?
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win. On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast wrecks and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up